Well, I want to go to this headquarters of the CDU in Berlin. Our correspondent Nick Holdsworth is there. Nick, guten Abend. Good to see you this evening. I imagine you have an atmosphere there. Listen to what Sophia said a moment ago, where this is a party feeling that they perhaps are on the edge of victory. What's it like?
Well, absolutely. Very, very busy here in the main building. You won't see that where I'm standing, but downstairs, lots of party supporters. And of course, they're brimming with self-confidence. The snap polls that have just come in show that the CDU, CSU are likely to get about 28.5%. Now, that's a little bit lower than they've been polling. It looks like a really bad night for the Social Democrats, 16.5%. That would be their worst ever result in a federal election in Germany. And unsurprisingly, AfD still around 20% mark, which would give them something like 131 seats in the parliament, and CDU would get about 187 and SPD would get 108. I mean, the surprise tonight is that the far left party, Die Linke, looks like it's going to pick up 9%, which would see it on around 50-odd seats. And the other two smaller parties, the FDP and the Bundeshaarwagenacht, which is also a left-wing party, will just about get 5%. They were worried about not achieving that number, which is the break-off point below which you don't get representation in the Bundestag. It does look like the Germans have voted for change. The parties are going to have a job putting together a coalition, and it's likely to be another traffic light coalition according to forecasts, with either the so-called Germany coalition, which would be the CDU, the SPD and the FDP, two members, SPD and FDP, who were in the previous government, the FDP being the party which walked out of Scholz's government in November, causing these early elections. That would get about 328 seats together. The other so-called Kenya coalition is the CDU with the Social Democrats and the Greens. So again, a composition not dissimilar to that which we had before. 374 seats would get that. If the CDU decided to work with the AfD, which they've said they won't, that would narrowly give them enough votes to form a coalition. Now, voters that I was speaking to this morning said that they would like to see a more stable coalition, a two-party coalition. Doesn't look like that. Looks like the Germans are going to get another variation of the traffic light coalition.
Nick, let's talk through that then. So you've seen the snap polls. As I understand it, tell me if this is right. We're looking at a position where the SDP, the Socialist Democrat Party, Olaf Scholz's party, Chancellor, looks like he's outgoing one term, 26.5% compared to 25.7%. That suggests that the SDP have increased its vote, if I'm right in saying that, but the CDU have increased by
16.5%.
Oh, 16.5%. So that's drastically different, right? So
16 have dropped, way dropped down. Yeah.
So we are in a new world, aren't we? This is a real punishment for Olaf Scholz in the polls, from 25% in 2021 to, as you just said, 16%, an increase from CDU from 2021 going by 4%, so 24% of the vote, then 28% of the vote now, 28.5%. The Greens hovering just below what they were in the coalition, now around 12%. They were at 14%. Also in the coalition, the economically liberal Free Democrats hovering around 5%. You need 5% as a threshold to stay in Parliament. So they've done it. But again, that's a hammering for them. They were at 11%. So they've been punished as well. Those three coalition parties, just a step back, all being punished here. The CDU taking votes away. Also, AfD, 20%. So let's frame this in where we were to 2021. That is a doubling of the party. That is significant. This party has only been around for, around a decade or so, Nick. 10.4% in 2021, 20%. And as you say, we have on the hard left, Die Linke, 9%. They've doubled their vote. They've also seen a bit of a bounce in the last few weeks. Sarah Wagenknecht, this combination of a left, right-wing extreme, on around 5%, and others at 4%. So the picture as you see it at the moment, this is CDU looking for coalition partners. They can do it, but it's not going to be what they call the GroKo redux, is it? This grand coalition just with the Social Democrats. They're going to need some other players on board. Or are they?
Yeah, absolutely. That's what they were hoping for. They don't meet the threshold to form a government because they won't achieve at least 51% of the seats in the parliament. So they need coalition partners. And as I've said, they're stuck with a hard choice now. It's one of three, only two of which they said they would consider. So that is partnering with the Social Democrats and the Free Democrats, that liberal right of centre party, or partnering with the Social Democrats and the Greens. Or they could partner with AfD, but they've said they won't do that, and if they did that, that would cause extreme internal divisions within the party. We already saw divisions within the party after Friedrich Merz took the support of the AfD to get a vote through Parliament on immigration recently. So it looks like it's going to be a three-party coalition. Of course, those talks will begin tomorrow immediately after the full results are in.
Nick, when you started to get the tweets and the information of the first snap poll coming through quicker than we did here, how rapid your fingers were to get to that, what was the reaction like within the room around you? Because we're watching the live images within the CDU party headquarters. Did a big cheer, champagne coming out? It looks fairly calm to me at the moment.
It's fairly calm because, of course, those results were a little bit below what they were hoping for. They were hoping for sort of 31%. It does look like the CDU has been punished by voters, and possibly that is because Friedrich Merz was flirting with the far-right AfD party just a few weeks ago, a party that we should remember has its roots back in the old days, Nazi past. So it's a party that's under federal investigation for extremism, and his flirting with them to get votes to support an anti-immigration move was not at all popular. Thousands of people, 200,000 people in Berlin just a couple of weeks ago, came out on the streets in protest about that. And it does look like some of the smaller parties are picking up the vote. I was talking to voters this morning. Many people have been using the Valomat, which is a online system where you put in you answer questions and it punches out, well, these are the parties that share your opinions. And from what I hear, a lot of people are getting results saying you should vote for this small party. And Die Linke has come from virtually nowhere, around sort of 4%, to we're looking at possibly 9%, and they've come up in the polls just in the last 3 weeks. Now, that would mean that Die Linke has a significant voice in Parliament, basically just behind the Greens. The numbers translate to Die Linke could have as many as 59 seats, which is, 20 seats behind the Greens.
Wow, and a lot of people, you've spoken about this, the anti-far-right rallying call by the hard-left leader, which seems to have got a big reaction, jumping from, nearly 5% to 9%. Nick, we'll be back to you in a moment.